Reggae Interviews. Word Sound Power.
This is DJ 745 from Reggae Interviews here at Cooyah Clothing on 96 Hope Road in the heart of Kingston, Jamaica. We are here with a true Jamaican songstress. Her musical journey started almost 45 years ago, and here in 2024, we are super excited to hear about how Nadine Sutherland maintains her voice and keeps keeping her fans embraced with all of those wonderful performances. Blessings, Nadine.
Blessings, Shrek. It's so nice. We finally got together.
We did.
And I made an extra effort because, I came by yesterday. I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta do Shrek.
I appreciate you taking the time because I know you've just flown back in from the United States, right?
I had a show in Fort Lauderdale, so yeah. But it's you. It's you.
We give thanks. I appreciate it. I really do. First of all, you're looking so well.
Oh, thank you so very much. I look well, but I feel popped down. I just also feel popped down. It's been a tiring weekend, but I'm here. So thank you that I look well.
Well, you know what? We always like to know what's happening, what's new in Nadine Sutherland, and I know that all your fans that are watching today will also be wanting to know a little bit about some of the works that you've done in recent times, and of course, what's to come as well. Now, I feel that you are a person that wears so many hats: singer, writer, an academic, a journalist, a TV presenter, teacher, choreographer, and a professionally trained dancer. How do you manage to wear so many hats?
I don't know. I just do. It's like sometimes when I look at it, I'm like, yeah, when like people say it, I'm like, how did I manage? But throughout my life, I'm always doing something. I never like to sit down. And, I think in terms of like after a while, everything just accumulated. And then you see so many things that you have done and you're like, yo, that's a lot of things for one person. It
is. I mean,
yes.
Most people, might have like a sort of like primary sort of like job or role, and then they might do some things on the side. But I'm thinking that the number of things that you're doing, how does she manage to fit all of those things into her life? And I appreciate that there's going to be times when there'll be more of an emphasis or focus on some of those directions at different times in your life, but I still think, wow, what a character.
It has happened. I mean, initially, when I went back to school, it wasn't from a space that it might be the second job. It was from a space that I actually wanted to go back to school. I was doing Rising Stars at that time, and then Rising Stars, when I started my first year, was absorbed in the universe. And then I wasn't getting any shows. So I said to myself, you have to focus and really go down, because, I was actually thankful to the universe. I was like, okay. So one part of my life probably ended, and I was very realistic about it. I was very sober because there was no shows, nothing going on. It was just a sobering moment. I'm like, but at least you're going to school. So that means the worst case scenario is that you'll have a master's and that you can go and seek employment in the worst case scenario. And I was at peace. I really was at peace. And went to school, got my master's. And while I was doing my master's, though, I recorded Chatty Chatty. It's interestingly enough, when the first time I sent in my thesis to my professor, my supervisor, he was like, this is not good, goodbye, and ran. It wasn't so cold, but that's how it felt. I was like, no, you cannot, which he was right, but I wasn't open to even hear it, because you write to people and everything, but it really was not good. Like after the finished product, to what I presented him, it was I love Dr. Ray Hitchens. Somebody might tell you that this is the interview. I really appreciate him. I grew as an academia with him. You know what happened then after that is like during the process of my paper being returned and I had to rewrite, my professor came to me and he was like, I want you to record for me. And that's how In My Blood came. Those songs came when I was a student. I think he released In My Blood soon after I did my graduated. But then Chatty Chatty was released the producers was done in on my 40th year. And they're like, we want to celebrate with you. We're going to release Chatty Chatty. We're going to release the video. And Chatty Chatty was released during the time of COVID.
Yes.
Like before COVID, like February, and I had these big plans for my 40th year celebration. I'm still slightly traumatized because I spent my money Spent my money getting the professional thing to make what they call it, proposals. I was talking to Tastee, I was talking to Tuff Gong. A lot of my friends, they were like, we're gonna celebrate with you on a big show I'm supposed to have. Yeah. Then came COVID, and I just had to sit down and went through the first stage of just like feeling like this is not real. And then after I picked myself up, Chachi Chachi was released, In My Blood, the EP was released, and I started getting interviews all over the place because of those stuff. And here I am, like now, and I just came from a show in Fort Lauderdale, and I have new single out, and it's been amazing.
It's been amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you went back to academia, you studied cultural studies, and it almost feels as though the subject material of In My Blood almost tied hand in hand with probably what you were actually studying from an academia point of view.
It was reinforced in me. It was like when you do the Caribbean culture and studies specifically, that's what I majored in, and you see what people went through, and you see, there's the new movie Bob Marley. But then when I went to school, there was a course called Bob Marley, and I did it. So it was just like, I laugh when I say, look how a Rasta man, when them used to treat badly, and supposedly the higher echelons of society, which would be like a university, would I say, a Rasta man, we not deal with her. And it was now, Bob Marley was a study. Right? So it was amazing for me. It was amazing for me when we did with the kids, because I was the elder, I was like the mama bear. Everybody was in their 20s. I was in my 40s when I went back to school. And when we went to Tuff Gong, there was a field trip to Tuff Gong, the museum, my playground.
Wow.
So it was like unbelievable for me, because these kids were like, and this is where I used to run up and down and come and record Starvation. And I started to cry. I kind of still tearing up right now, just the thought about it, that my journey to academia took me back there, and I in that moment I felt so, I'm like, I lived this. These kids are in awe of a history. This was a part of my history. So they were like, they tried to console me. I was bawling. It was really a moment for me to, I'm tearing up a bit, because there I was in academia, and a part of my studies was part of my history. So I was really, really proud. And as a result of that, having that, knowing myself stronger, I grew up with a lot of black ideologies and Pan-Africanism, because my father was that kind of man, So, but it was reinforced in me. And then, I was like, I think what happened, there was an attempt, it's the first time I think a black man was killed in a way that social media helped to push it out. And I was so angry, and I reassessed everything. I was like, Babylon still about time. Now cussing, Babylon system, butterfire. I was in that space. I was like, yeah, Peter Tosh. And then by the time I went to England, man, that song was there. In my blood, Marcus Garvey, in my blood. I was in my radical. I was like, I want to do it, What's she name? Angela from the Black Panther movement, Angela Davis. I wanted to do it in black, and I wanted to do it with an afro. And my blood ended like this. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling myself. I was feeling my black self.
Now, you just mentioned your father. He was the person that took you down to 56 Hope Road back in 1979, I think it was. And he was also with you for the recent premiere, the worldwide premiere of One Love.
Yes.
What were your thoughts on watching that movie?
The thing about Rastafari came up, and I cried in that movie. I cried from so many different spaces. I cried at our history. I cried at the unnecessary pain. It was so they humanized Bob Marley for me. I cried, and I was like, I would have never thought that a man would have gotten shot, and 2 days after come on a stage with like many thousand people was at that show, and wondering, I'm like, anybody, it wasn't quiet then about who tried to assassinate him, and him still stand up, and I'm like, can you imagine when that director took me through post-traumatic stress syndrome, and like Marley was there, and he was like thinking about who might be there in a whole throng. It's the first time I ever thought about that, because you think about it from an urban myth paradigm, but he never thought about it from a human paradigm. And to think that Mrs. Marley with a shot in her head, basically just got shot in her head, come with a bandage and still come and sing. So I was like, I some lion and lioness business, you know. Yeah, there's so many moments that I got teared up. It teared me up to see our political culture. It teared me up so much. I was so sad with all of the stuff that represent, and I'm like, here is Bob trying to really be a change and try to shift mindset and try to introduce something that, you know, I remember nobody can tell me anything about having the two warring, what they call them tribes, party, but they acted like tribes. It's one Jamaica, them act like say a two tribe. You have to be honest in all of this. I remember my father when I was a little girl, and he could spot who was who. Him can spot the one who is a PNP Don. Him could have spot one that was a JLP Don. And my father would be like, come child. You know? So those things were true. I lived them and I saw them. I saw, you know, when Rita said to Bob that, you're naive. It made me really look at some of the stuff that he did. And it was like, yes, indeed he was. Because he came from a pure space. You know, I think I heard Jiggy say that he wasn't a perfect man. But he had his intention, you know, was pure. And, you know, when you speak, like to Darren Jobson, and, you know, I spoke to Neville before he transitioned. You see all those people, how zealous they were, how they took him and they protected him, like Darren when she speak about Bob. I was a child when I met Bob. I never spent time with Bob, you know, as a little girl. 2 years out of my life, you know, he was there. So I really, you know, don't know him like how these people know him. But when I look at how he was people, how he impacted them, that they actually believed in his purpose. You know? So what a man. As Marcia Griffith singing, he's a legend. What a man. So One Love, the movie, to me was incredible. I think some people were, because you know what? The #1 movie in America. I learned some people were majoring in the minor, in their thought pattern. I was like, why is this conversation coming up? For me, I was so proud to see these young artists and actors that them going to get some serious exposure. Right, as I know. Because the world, it's the #1 movie in America. So all them little youth there, we play Bucky Marshall, we play, God, they mess up. We play, you know, Naomi played
Auntie
Marcia, Savannah played Rita. And all them young people, they will get a chance to be seen in a world, in a vehicle that is so big. And people are shut up their mouth. When I see what Faye Ellington did, and I don't remember the other institution that helped in ensuring that there was this authentic Jamaican language. Listen, back in the days, and you hear them people that tried Jamaica was cringeworthy. I have to be honest. Was like, oh my God, it's the first time that I've heard a Jamaican accent being portrayed, and I'm like, wow. So whosoever did it was very respectful of everything. Right? So big up the One Love movie, big up my complex political history that still make my ball. Wish it was different, because we're not tribe, you know, two parties that Bob was trying to show people that we're all one. Big up all the young people them that going to get this exposure. Big up every single thing. Big up, you know, essentially it was a Jamaican story on big screen that Bob Marley captured the imagination of the world and brought us forward. So when I know, chatty.
Well, thank you for sharing some thoughts on the One Love movie. And as you said, you know, there's so many younger people here in Jamaica, not necessarily just recording artists, but I think it's good that, you know, we've got people like you said, Savannah. We've also got Hector Roots Lewis. Yes. They've all done a wonderful job, I think.
He did. Listen, when I saw Hector doing the Carly and he went like this, I said, wow. Uno really do Uno research, because I remember Mr. Carly used to play with his folded lips. So they went, and I mean, Never Garrett was there giving, you know, his input. So, you know, being that I lived some part of it, and then what I saw, I was like, yo, this was just amazing.
Amazing.
And also, you have to pick up the crew that work, the caterers, the production crew, whoever worked on it. Jamaica ate a food.
Yeah. Well, look, we know that you've just flown in from the United States. Touring still seems to be sort of, quite sort of high up on your to-do list in terms of what you're doing. You did the Jamrock cruise last year. That must have been an experience in itself as well.
That was an experience. I'm always nervous before I go on stage. Always nervous. But, that's why I'm a stickler for rehearsal and even if you're rehearsing, you're going to mess up. Because I remember Jamrock crew, the first song, I was like blank. And I'm singing. But I never forgot my choreography, but I forgot a part of something that only me and my background vocals know. I've been called to do a lot of shows. I love being on stage. As long as I get over the first nerves, the whiner in me emerges. The dancer in me emerges, and I just enjoy myself, so I'm thankful. I haven't really done any tours. Hint, hint, promoters. I've done shows, and I must say that there have been incredible shows. I guess the audience and I have a great rapport because I guess I project that I really do enjoy myself when I go on stage. So it's been incredible. So I'm really, really proud of myself. I'm really proud and happy that I still can do what I can do. My voice is still intact. Physically, I think it's years of conditioning as a dancer, as a somebody in fitness and all of that. I think it has helped me at this age and stage that I'm able to do it and do it, and my audience, they're very, very receptive and they enjoy it. So yeah.
I definitely would agree with you. Certainly your fan base continues to sort of grow into what I'm going to call generations now. They are embracing your catalogue of hits, old and new. Just to give you an idea, I spoke to my daughters earlier today, and they always want to know what I'm doing here and so forth. And when I told them that I'm interviewing Nadine Sutherland, they're like, she's the lady that doesn't have the song with Budja Banton. So even they know the story about Dickie. So I think it's great. And I think that these younger generations, they seem to be throwing back to like the 90s R&B, the 90s dancehall. And of course, you were such a big part of that as well. Yeah, somebody said to me, it's like, you're going into the younger generation now. Yes, my past. But I think what happened is that I think they're fascinated that at my age I can still champion bubble. So I said that to him. I think they're kind of fascinated that I can dance. So I'm only being tried right now, but I think there's substance, and I'm happy in terms of like having new fans, whether from my own material, whether if it's now that they like me, or whatsoever. I'm just happy. There's old fans, there are new fans, there are fans my age, and it seems to be expanding. And I'm very, very pleased because, at one time in my life, I never even thought that I would be here, as you knew. I went back to school, got a great job, and I'm like, all right, cool music, you don't want me anymore? I understand, but here I am. Here I am. Yeah. Well, I think you continue to sort of embrace music with recent singles like "Can't Stop Me From Smiling." You tease fans with this visual with a wedding dress, and how many calls did you get asking you whether you had just tied the knot or not?
I've always heard that the viral thing, like you hear your nieces, and I went viral in my wedding dress. I got calls of congratulations. I got cursed out, one of my friends, which I'm like, how could you be my friend and say that to me? She's like, you must be the most trifling human being in the world. Didn't we go to dinner on Friday? Did you really pack up and get married? I'm like, girl, you think I would? I said, I was telling her, I said, the director shot a picture of me on the beach, and if anybody looked at my face, there is no unhappy bride. Well, there might be unhappy brides, but if they look on my face, the look on my face should have shown that I wouldn't be getting married and looking so much in despair. And the story is about this woman called Naomi who have all the trappings of uptown, but there's a darker story that was happening, and she is a person that she was abused all her life. So the trappings would, she thought that going across the trappings is her idea of love kind of work, but she's an abused woman, so she don't have a good concept of love. And the abuser also. In the video, I not get where. I can't imagine, sir, you talk to your woman and your real woman come and you're shooing her away. So I basically believe with that video it is showing the suicides of abuse, physical abuse, the abuser and the abused. So when they saw my picture with that look of despair, I was in character. But I think the dress looked nice, and the dress did look nice for me. Sit on for me. I look a Photoshop thing and make it look nice. You know what nicer? Oh my God. It went beyond my wildest expectation. My nieces were like, "Auntie, you went viral. You went viral." Like I know what that meant until that moment. When I did go viral. It was all over the place. TikTok, people were, radio stations across the world, they were congratulating me. Some people don't even believe right now that I even came publicly and I said it. They're like, I like man. She actually got married. She wanted to be in secret. Come on, people. I didn't get married. It was a picture for the video that you should check out because it's an interesting story. Yes.
Well, I've definitely seen the video, and it definitely, does help to portray that story of, the complexities of domestic abuse.
Yes. Definitely. And I went into character a little bit too much. I was drained for days. I was physically, I had to go back into physio because, I injured myself last year. I had just a slight injury, but I wasn't taking care of it because I was busy, and I had to shut down for like 2 weeks and, being knocked down and coming up back and fight, man. Poof. People watch the video, fight back and jump and ground several times and take. I had to go back into physio. It was a really intense video, a deeply emotional video. When you watch that video, it's riveting. It's like a movie, and I'm very proud of it. I have to big up the person who wrote the song, which is Miguel Smith, because you can't have, if the song wasn't a good song, you couldn't move with it as though we move with it. The director, I'm blanking out at the Arif Butler is the director, and his wife, Davine Butler, she wrote the script and he directed it, and I think they did an excellent job. I think that we just made it into what it is, and I'm very proud of that video. I think it's a great video. Somebody says like a mini movie, and I think so too.
And I think that the song's certainly bubbling across the world, where radio jocks are playing that song as well, because we always love to embrace new music from Nadine Sutherland, a bit like the anthemic Triumphant.
Right.
What a single that was last year.
I think Triumphant was so powerful. I really wanted it seemed, there's a specific thread that my song seemed to be saying, which is like rising, upliftment and rising from circumstances that, could have killed you. And I feel that has been my life. And probably subconsciously I'm writing and doing, because that the theme of Can't Stop Me From Smiling, it resonates, that same theme. So probably in my life, in terms of everything that I've gone through in the music industry, being knocked down, being lied about, being rumored, slander, thinking that I've lost my career, and just like, embracing it from like a lion heart and say, okay, well, if this is the deal, I have to just go on with my life and all of that. And I think right now, in terms of everything that has happened in my life for the last couple of years, it's almost subconsciously, it's been my theme that nothing's gonna stop me. I might get knocked down, I'm gonna rise. Those who still, but initially was like, oh my God, she's this age or whatsoever, and I'm like in their face, and they're like, shut up their mouths now, especially like with the performances and all of that, and they're, whatever blocks they have put in front of me. It's like I decided that I'm not gonna listen to you, because I've listened to you for so many years. I've listened to you, I've made you get into my system that I could have harmed myself, and I'm like, it's not gonna happen right now, because I think what motivated me, I'm like, I'm in my 50s, I don't even know if I'm gonna die tomorrow, I don't know, so I'm just gonna do it. And probably that's it. And I seen, in Triumphant, that came out, and I'm like, if I can speak in my music to the younger generation that is coming up and said, you're going to fail, but listen, when you stop is when you really fail. The road to success it comes with so many things, If I can speak with my music and say, okay, lift up yourself no matter what, be triumphant, nobody can stop you from smiling. Whatever happened in your life like a couple years ago, no means that tomorrow there isn't hope, So it seemed like that is my life right now.
I think that, you know, when you sing these really motivational songs like Triumphant, it almost seems as though you're sort of like channeling probably some of the techniques, the things that you've sort of learnt within yourself to overcome challenges into song.
Yeah. Shut up your mouth. The enemy thoughts in my mind that make me feel like say me not worth your while. Shut up your mouth. The enemy of another kind, the one with them negative vibes from outside. So I looked at the two parts of what hold people down, your negative thoughts. But my negative thoughts came a lot from a lot of the outside noise that was around me, but I didn't have the life experience to understand that those who are talking is different experiences. They're coming back and they're targeting me and all of that. I didn't have the life experience. So I addressed it, the enemy thoughts in my mind that made me feel like, say, me not worked here a while. Low self-esteem, listening to people, you know, doubting yourself, all of those stuff. So you're right. What I've been through, put it in my song. Hopefully a young man or woman will hear it and they will be empowered. Not even young people, I mean old people, every kind of people. White, black, Chinese, everybody, the whole gamut of the race that exists.
Yes, yeah. There was also a great video for Triumphant that was shot in Brooklyn in New York.
It was.
It seems like you had a great fun making that video.
I had, you know, and I think it was like God was so good on that day because it was in the middle of March, but the degree was 50. So, you know, I was like, how am I going to shoot a video in March in New York? But God was like, okay, I'm going to make this 50 and nice for you. And, you know, all of those things that you saw. And I was like, yeah. But then I did jump up and down too much in the boots. Probably that's what helped with my injury. Because I already was feeling pangs of pain in my legs. But I got too excited. So after that, I was like, okay, physio. Anyway, I'm still here.
Yeah, you certainly are. And that song was actually co-produced, a project between yourself, Lenky, and Sly Dunbar. Wow.
Two maestros, two incredible men, you know, that, you know, basically did no form of invalidation, did no form of saying that you can't do it. They listened to my ideas. They listened to what I have to say. Even when I did Queen,
yes,
you know, with Jermaine and Dean and all of that, they were respectful for what I had to say, you know, and, you know, I appreciate that. And it is important for me to speak about the positives of men in the industry, because a lot of times we hear about the negatives, and I'm not going to say that they don't exist, but we have to highlight the positives, what that are men. You know, Ryan Bailey was very, very instrumental in Queen and being supportive of that venture, and he ended up, his company, his production company, film production, ended up doing the video. But he was very supportive and always been supportive of me as a woman. So we want to big up all of them man in the music industry and say, yeah, we give you an applause.
Yeah.
Enough bad things them we hear about the man them in the industry don't.
But I feel as though, you know, when you're working with people of the caliber of Lenky, Sly Dunbar, and Donovan Jermaine, who you've had a really long association with right back through to the 90s, you always seem to sort of like pick the best producers to work with.
Yeah, because they understand good quality. You know, they look at the track records of all of those people. They understand quality and they're committed to excellence. I wouldn't come in there and there's something Jamaican people say kaba. That means, how do I translate it to an international audience? No good, inferior. Those people that I've worked with, they would not want to do anything unless it's not of a high quality. So first and foremost, you have to go in there with your A game, because they're coming in there with their A game. Because Lenky and Sly, they don't easy. All of them man they don't easy in terms of when they want to put out, because it's years, you know, they can't put out them name on something and
it's below 100%.
My God, everything them work for all of them years. Why would I just come crumbling down? Wow.
You must have some other forthcoming works that you're probably looking at doing with, people like Donovan Jermaine or maybe Lenky or Sly, because, you've worked with, I think, the cream of the crop as far as producer concerned. Even if we look back at the late Fatis Burrell, Bobby Digital, you always seem to have a knack of working with the right producer that they capture the best of Nadine.
I think so, and Dave Kelly, we have to big him up with action.
Of course, Dave Kelly.
Right, so coming, I think, Can't Stop Me From Smiling, we are promoting it and promoting it, the next song I think will be coming out is one that Lenky produced. I didn't have anything I just wrote it.
Okay.
I just wrote it, so that's some more up-tempo song, and we're looking forward to that song. Well, hopefully it's going to be the summer banger. So we're just excited about that. Yeah. And hopefully by the end of I have to regroup, recalibrate, because never will come again, because 45 years is coming up in December, and I'm not gonna lie that I'm a little bit apprehensive because of what happened in the 40th. We are praying and hoping that there will be not another COVID or anything like that, So I guess I have to start focusing on what I'm gonna do in celebrating my 45th years, being that my 48 years tanked.
Now we live in this like modern world and time where you have to be on social media, you have to be connecting with your fans, and I feel that you do that really, really well in terms of sending out some of your positive affirmations and just sort of giving those words of encouragement to all your fan base.
My tribers.
Your tribers, yes, as you call them.
My tribers. I do that, a lot of stuff that I do speaking to my own self. So probably in a moment in life, I was, when I look back, I'm not a psychologist, but I think my trauma, I think my pain, I think all of that I felt, some really unnecessary stuff that happened to me in the music industry and being a public person, that, and I felt like I had to scrape myself off the ground emotionally, spiritually, and find my own footing just to even live and exist. I feel the trauma of that fuels me a lot. I think it fuels me. I think, it's something like sometimes you act out stuff and you do stuff and it's like on a subconscious level. So some of the time I look at the stuff that I do and I'm like, you still move and have your beat. All this from a healthy space. Because I always, I guess, try to send out stuff and say keep strong and all of that, blah, 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 blah. Because I know. I've been there when I was weak. I've been there when I had to scrape myself off the floor. I've been there when I had started having suicidal thoughts and just felt like, okay, I don't know how I stopped that. I didn't get suicidal, which is a different level. So I've been there. So it's almost like knowing that I've been through that level of pain and angst and feeling just like terrible and awful. I feel like I have to, it's not something that I'm even doing consciously. But it just happened to be something that I'm doing. And on reflection, I'm not a shrink still, but you act out some of the stuff. So highfalutin, don't I? Oprah Winfrey show made me so much I get these ideas from.
Well, no, I think that, I think in terms of what you're doing, what you've done in decades of being an artist, I really think that it's commendable because, there's not many artists that, you can say started out in 1979 and are still making music that's current and connects, not just with your generations of fans from back then, but also the younger generations as well.
I'm thankful for that. As I said before, it's not anything that I even planned. That's what I always say to myself, that music chose me. Because who would have thought that the script would have gone how my script went and how my life went? I've never thought. It's almost like I feel sometimes like I'm a part of a story that was already written and I was placed in it and I'm like going with the story. And when I think like logically and I'm like, okay, it's done. I'm going to go back to school, I'm going to do my master, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. It's like it just like, no, this is your story. And all of that too, going back to school is part of the story, This is your story and I just go on. And I follow it. And sometimes I'm like, I can't bother with this, cause too bad, and I'm like, all right, no, this is your story, live it. With all the ups and downs, the slander, the rumoring, the things that people like shut doors on you, the things like this say, the order, the isms and schism. Every ism and schism in this life I got you. classism, colorism, racism, ageism, all kind of academic intellectualism. I don't know something names about. Me coin it. There must be a right word for it. I have gone through all of those stuff in my life, so the script was written for me.
Yeah. Well, look, Nadine, I really give thanks for your time today, sharing a little bit of your thoughts on some of the music you've been making recently, and of course going back down memory lane as well. In recent times, you've been a judge on Rising Stars. You were there when people like Romain were coming through, Christopher Martin, Sugar. You must have some really sort of like positive feelings in your mind, because all of those artists are putting out projects in 2024, and you were there right at the start of their journeys.
Yeah, can you imagine? Shows with Romain and Chris, like I showed with Sugar the other day, I'm like looking at these people, I'm like, yeah, my babies, my rising star babies. That's how I feel. Sometimes, I doing shows. I did a show, was 2 summers ago in New York, and Chris and Romain, they were on it. Amazing. Show the other day with Sugar. And then I met her baby, and he's like, hello, so cute. There's this feeling of like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I've done so many things. I've done, like when I look at them, I'm like, your life wasn't in vain. Enough things you're doing. This is how we're learning, Nadine. And it just gives me a sense of satisfaction to see them and pride. I really feel proud of them. Sugar's had not an easy journey. She has stood up as a woman, and she has stood up through many things, and she's doing her stuff and writing some incredible songs. Chris and Romain are like the 2 young singers that so many eyes are on male. They're doing so well, and I feel so happy and proud for them. I see Chris tell you as I turn out boy upon my man, like like body, like go gym, go work out, and it's like, yeah, baby. I was like, yeah, my baby. Stop going on like you're a big sexy hunk right now. You're my baby.
Well, look, Nadine, once again, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And we're going to look out for more greatness in 2024. Give thanks. I'm
always so happy to speak with you, Shirk. And thank you for giving me your dental, because people don't really know that you're a dentist, your dental advice through my trauma. Thank you.
Anytime. One love.
One love, Shirk.
Reggae Interviews. Word Sound Power.